It's one of the biggest tragedies, and there's disbelief all over Kashmir for what happened and what was discovered today in a village in Kulgam, one of the most restive provinces of Jammu and Kashmir. The bullet-ridden body of 23-year-old Lieutenant Umar Fayaz, a young army officer, just 5 months old in the army and a local of that village in Kashmir, was found by locals. The army has mourned his loss. He was abducted and butchered by terrorists for daring to join the army. Take a look.
Lieutenant Umar Fayaz, a young officer, all of 22 years, commissioned into the army barely months ago. Abducted by cowardly terrorists while he was on leave, was unarmed, was at a family wedding. Abducted from Kulgam, his bullet-riddled body found today morning in Shopian. The forces honor their brave comrade in arms, grieving alongside a distraught family. But where are those today who turned up at the funeral of terrorist commander Burhan Wani? Where is the condemnation of the abduction and killing of a soldier only because he was serving his country? Where is the outrage over killing someone who was unarmed, who worked his way to a bright future, the son of a small apple grower? Again and again, from police officers to politicians to now a young army man, anyone who is seen as pro-India is targeted and silenced. But the tide is now turning. Today's cowardly act of killing a man in uniform the terrorists couldn't face in battle may just be the tipping point in Kashmir. With Shujaul Haq in Srinagar, Bureau Report, India Today.
I want to go straight across to Executive Editor Gaurav Sawant joining me live. Gaurav, total shock and dismay in the army and all across the country. This was a young man, Lieutenant Umar, who actually had the idealism and the faith to go back home, where he knows things are dangerous, where he knows he would have faced opposition and threats for daring to join the army, break the shackles of what's going on there and actually join the army. What are you hearing, Gaurav, about what happened?
Son of the soil, barely 6 months in the army, the brave soldier of the Rajputana Rifles Regiment. He was at a family wedding. There was a wedding in his mother's brother's side. There was a wedding. He was from Kulgam. He'd gone to Shopian to attend this wedding. Even though they were aware of the situation being extremely tense all across South Kashmir, but he was the son of the soil. He'd grown up with the same boys. He'd lived there all his life.
Yes.
In fact, even as a school student, he'd encouraged others to be a part of the national mainstream. This is what his friends have said. But this is where he was picked up from that wedding. Everyone saw him being taken away. Not only was he brutally killed, his body was left at a town square as a signal that if you serve Mother India, if you think it's India first, this is what will happen to you. So the terrorists have declared war on the Indian state. They were so far threatening police officers. They'd killed some policemen, they'd killed some politicians, but now they've killed a soldier and an officer in an open dare to the Indian army, saying, what can you do? We control South Kashmir.
Absolutely. Gaurav, the army has been sounded very grim but very determined in the last few hours since this story broke on India Today. They've also gone ahead and called this. We all know, Gaurav, you were in Kashmir just a few weeks ago. You've seen what it's like on the ground. The army has actually gone out and said that this is going to be a watershed moment and the tide will turn against terrorists on the ground because they've killed one of their own, a person in whom was, manifested the future of Kashmir, a young local boy butchered by terrorists. Definitely sentiment is going to change. What are you hearing? Is that something the army is hoping for?
The army is confident. In fact, Lieutenant General Abhay Krishna, the colonel of the Rajputana Rifles Regiment, he issued a statement saying the tide will turn and that the army is determined that the perpetrators will be punished. They stand with the family, they grieve with the family. So the army hopes that the people will rise against terrorists, because the majority, the army is confident, and they've seen it on ground. They are deployed on ground. They are confident in the majority. The silent majority is with them. But it's the fringe which has the weapons. It's the fringe that is vocal. And it's the fringe that actually is now calling the shots, not just in South Kashmir, but practically across the Kashmir Valley, Shiv. And this is where alarm bells should be ringing loud and clear. There have been strong statements from the Chief of the Army Staff, General Bipin Rawat. There have been strong statements from Mr. S.P. Vaid, the Director General of Police. But it's the terrorists who are taking strong action on ground. Remember, Shiv, in the same South Kashmir, when the army carried out a massive area domination exercise barely a week ago with 4,000 troops on ground, Army, CRPF, Jammu and Kashmir Police, one, nothing cropped up. Two, when the team was going back, the terrorists hit back at the army. So this shows the initiative is with the terrorists, and the army needs to be more robust in striking back. Their restraint, which is welcome, but restraint is almost being seen as weakness at this point of time, Shiv.
I'm going to, Gaurav, just a short while ago, we were talking about the inevitable comparisons that are going to be done between Lieutenant Umar Fayaz, a hero, an army officer, a brave young lad in the Indian Army, and the likes of terrorists like Burhan Wani. Same age, they came from a similar kind of, place and a village in Kashmir, in South Kashmir. And look at the two divergent paths these two young men took. One, a terrorist who killed his own people. One who pledged to actually defend the people of Kashmir. Gaurav now compares both Burhan Wani and Lieutenant Umar. Only one of them, remember, is a real hero.
This is the story of two Kashmiris, one who stood for India first, the other who stood for terror first. Lieutenant Umar Fayaz of the Rajputana Rifles Regiment and terrorist Burhan Wani. Both extremely young, one from Tral, the other from Kulgam, both from South Kashmir. The lieutenant was all of 23, the terrorist 22 years old. He wanted a caliphate in South Kashmir, he wanted a caliphate across Kashmir, was with the Lashkar-e-Taiba, was with the Hizbul Mujahideen, sought Pakistan's help for a terror caliphate. This youngster stood for India first. Even as a child, he wanted to join the army and serve the nation. Until his last breath, he served the nation. He was kidnapped, he was abducted from a wedding, mercilessly killed, his body thrown on the highway to send out a signal to others in Kashmir who stand for India first. Will India buckle under terror is the big question. Clearly not. This terrorist Burhan Wani was killed in an anti-terror operation. This gentleman, he was abducted and murdered by terrorists for standing up for India first. So very, very clear picture, contrast between a nationalist, someone who stood for India first, and a terrorist who wanted a caliphate in Jammu and Kashmir. Here, it's not just people in the valley who have to choose, it's for the country to choose what they stand for, terror or India first.
I want to go across now straight to independent Jammu and Kashmir MLA Engineer Rashid, joining us live from Srinagar this evening. Also Lieutenant General B.S. Jaswal, retired, former Army Commander with the Army's Northern Command. Engineer Rashid, first to you, is there anything at all, Mr. Rashid, that explains the butchering of 22-year-old Lieutenant Umar Fayaz by terrorists in Kulgam? What is there anything to you that actually explains this terrible act of murder of this young Kashmiri boy?
Not at all. Loss of every human life is really, it gives a lot of pain. Whether you lose a militant, whether you lose a soldier, whether you lose a civilian, mothers don't love receiving coffins of their beloved ones. So the tragedy is, which you told in your program at the initial stage when you said that captain was a hero and you called Burhan a terrorist. You are right in your own interpretation, but at the same time, this is the tragedy because your hero are valiants of Kashmiris and valiants of Kashmiris are your heroes. So that is the problem. It's a political problem unless and until we will not take big initiatives.
No, so are you,
mothers will continue
no,
to receive
Engineer Rashid,
coffins of their beloved
Engineer
ones,
Rashid,
and
you know,
we all
there,
will be
there is a
debating
place
just
for
in
rhetoric.
and
There is a
trying
place
and
for
doing
rhetoric
nothing.
in this argument.
Sir,
I'm asking you a
sir,
very
please.
clean, I'm
Sir,
asking you a
please.
clean, non-rhetorical question,
No,
sir.
not at all.
No, I know
Not
you
at
like
all.
fighting. I'm asking you a very
Not at
clean,
all. I am not.
non-rhetorical question. Is your condemnation absolute of the people who killed Lieutenant
Sir,
Umar
please.
Fayaz of the Indian Army, or are you saying that
Please.
they also had their
Please.
reasons and we must be
allow me.
big-hearted to remember
allow
that?
Me. Please.
Please answer my question directly, Engineer Rashid.
Please allow me to say something. Please allow me to say something. Yeah. Please allow me to say something. We are there on the ground. We are not debating things in TV studios. We know the pain because we have been facing this since 1990. Whether they are the army soldier,
Engineer
a civilian
Rashid,
army,
no,
whoever else,
look,
they belong to us.
we have a
Last-
very limited
last
time
humanity.
right now. I
On
can't allow
31st
you
of
to, I
January,
can't allow
allow
you to
me, no,
simply
either-
use rhetoric
you
here.
have to
No,
show
you
some
can,
courtesy.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
this
show
is
some
not,
courtesy. I
this
will-
is not, this is not a platform for you
I
to
will
use,
finish just one-
this is
I
not a
will
platform
finish
for you to bring in the rhetoric and the history of this. I'm asking you about a specific issue. We can go into the broad aspects of it a little later. I'm asking you a specific issue. Do you unequivocally and unconditionally condemn what has happened to Lieutenant Umar Fayaz, and will you condemn the people responsible for it? Do you think the people responsible for killing Umar Fayaz should be hunted down and killed in the same fashion by the army?
You have been doing that right from day one. Why
Does
are you
anything
saying
justify
that?
it?
Even
Don't-
you are doing it without
don't-
my consent. You need not to
Don't
take
give
my
me a
consent.
rhetorical
I will
answer,
say that.
Engineer Rashid.
But please,
I'm asking you, they are
you don't
Kashmiris
listen
who
to
killed
answer.
him.
That's the problem,
Umar
sir.
Fayaz,
Sir,
Umar
please, no, not
Fayaz.
at all. You are not.
Lieutenant
you are not
Umar
allowing
Fayaz
me.
was a
Give me
Kashmiri.
just 40
Was Lieutenant
Give me 40
well,
uninterrupted
was
seconds.
Lieutenant Umar
40
Fayaz a
uninterrupted
Kashmiri,
seconds.
Engineer Rashid?
40
Lieutenant Umar Fayaz
he
was a
doesn't belong to
Kashmiri.
you. He belongs to my Kashmir.
He belonged to
belongs
Kashmir
my
and he was
Kashmir.
butchered by
You have no
by
relationship with
Kashmiris,
him except
by
you are this
Kashmiri
time
terrorists. That's
debating
the
him on
point.
TV and trying to befool people of India. I am telling you. I am telling you first.
I'm sorry. I
Sir,
think
I
you're
am telling
feeling
you, no
pain.
militant
Engineer Rashid,
organization
I think you
has-
might be
has
feeling
only the
pain that a
responsibility till
person
now.
like Lieutenant
And let me
Umar
tell you
Fayaz
one thing.
actually
What DGP
dared to
police
ignore
has said
terrorists among
just
his
5 or
mates.
6
He
minutes
dared
back
to look
that
beyond
no
people like
soldier
you.
or no
That's
one
the
else
point.
who is serving in army or police,
Look.
they should not.
Okay, you
No,
finish your point.
you are
Doesn't
not-
matter.
you are not ready to
Since
hear
you're
the
not willing
answer,
to
sir.
listen, you finish your
Give me
point.
one thing.
Engineer
Say me one
Rashid, you
thing.
finish your point.
Sir, say me
you
one
finish
thing,
your point,
please.
then I'll respond to you and I'll bring in Lieutenant General Jaswal as well. You please finish your point.
Yeah. Please. Sir, please. You mentioned about our DGP, DG Vaid's condemnation. Obviously, he has to do it. But tell me one thing, it was DGP Vaid who just 15 days back said that no soldier should visit his hometown in South Kashmir because there is every chance that he may it may endanger his life.
So you're
May I
saying
ask
it's his fault?
that who had allowed this young captain who is responsible then for his murder? Why was he allowed to visit his home when the atmosphere was so
So you're
volatile
saying it's
that
the
he
army's
had to
fault,
show
it's
warning?
Lieutenant
And
Umar
one last
Fayaz's
thing,
fault,
that militants
and
till now
there is no
have not
blame
owned
at the door of the terrorists.
Militants
There
till
are
now
no
have
there is
not-
no blame at
militants till now
the
have not
door of
owned
the
their
Kashmiri
responsibility.
terrorists, the
Militants have
Pakistan-backed
not claimed
Kashmiri
their
terrorists who
responsibility yet.
actually abducted and killed
Militants
him
have
from a
not claimed
wedding.
their responsibility yet.
You know what kind of
We have
cowards
lost
are
a
the
human
people?
being. I have
Look at the
sympathy with
people.
the family.
Listen,
I have
look,
sympathy with the family.
Engineer Rashid,
I have
you're
sympathy with the family. I am
you're
telling you the
speaking
same
in
thing.
defense of
I am
people
telling you the
who
same
can
thing,
have
sir.
no defense.
Yeah.
You're speaking about people. Be very careful. I'm not here to quarrel with you, Engineer Rashid.
No,
you
not
are
at all.
you are a
Nothing
respected
is in my
MLA.
hands.
You are a respected MLA.
Nothing
I'm
is
not
in
here to
our hands.
quarrel with you. I am simply pointing
Nothing is
out
in
the
our
fact
hands.
that you are defending, you are speaking for people who have abducted a 23-year-old from a wedding of his family member, took him to a secret spot, killed him with 11 bullets and then threw his body somewhere. You're saying it's the army's fault, they allowed him to go there. You're saying it's his fault, he shouldn't have gone back, he broke rules and went back. Whatever it is, that's not the point. The point is you have not said one word of condemnation for the individuals who actually murdered Lieutenant Umar Fayaz. That is the point. You've talked about everything else. You've talked about the atmosphere, the history in Kashmir. I'm not saying they're not important. I'm sorry.
We are tired of condemnations. No.
I
we
don't-
are tired of condemnation.
No,
On
you
31st
talk
of January, I
about
lost
the
my
army
next door
killing.
neighbor.
You
He
talk
was a
about the
policeman.
army killing in
It was
Kashmir.
I who took
This
his
is
coffin. No,
terrorists.
not at all.
These are locals.
Sir, please,
This is
we
not
talk
the
about
army
all
who has
killings.
killed Lieutenant
We
Umar.
talk about all
This is
killings.
these are
Ram
local
Bhagwan, who said that
terrorists who
everything
have
is fair in love
killed
and war.
Lieutenant Umar. I want to
think
bring in
Ram
General
Bhagwan should be held
Jaswal.
responsible
General
for his
Jaswal.
irresponsible comments.
General Jaswal,
They can be
isn't
terrorists
it?
for you, but the tragedy is people see them as
Whatever
heroes.
it is, I'm sorry,
the
that's
problem.
rhetoric. Don't bring your rhetoric here. If you say that this problem is not debated in studios, I want to bring in General Jaswal because
It can't be
sometimes
rhetoric
we
on
do
your
debate
side,
these
sir.
issues. General Jaswal, isn't it terrorists on the one hand, politicians like Engineer Rashid on the other, and the political atmosphere and situation in Kashmir, precisely what Lieutenant Umar was fighting against and fought through to become part of the Indian Army because he wanted to protect his own people, General Jaswal?
Firstly, I salute Lieutenant Fayaz, and my heart goes out to the family. I know the pain a family suffers when they lose a soldier. This kind of a rhetoric coming from Engineer Rashid Saab, मुझे बहुत दुख हुआ. You are an Indian. This boy was in line of duty. Casual leave is on duty. He had gone there. He was harmless. And yet he was kidnapped and
Yes.
killed brutally. Isn't it what they call absolute murder? Absolute murder. What is the Awam, I would say, not the Awam, but the terrorists trying to achieve? Are they trying to induce fear psychosis? Sorry. By doing this kind of act, the people are going to turn against the terrorists. You wait and see. You wait and see. People, they are being coerced. They are being threatened.
Yes.
They are being told not to go for elections. They've been told to come for stone pelting, that if you don't send your children, we may kill your family or you may never reach back home. And now they have reached the pinnacle of their tirade against anyone who stands for the nation. I would just request Mr. Rashid, are you not an Indian? If you are an Indian, should you not condemn the killing of this very brave
I am a
heart,
human.
an Indian soldier?
I am a Kashmiri.
There are things which are there. Just a second, Mr. Rashid. Are you not an Indian? Please say so. Please say so. You are an Indian and you live in Kashmir.
I am
And
not in
that's
the
why
court
you
of law.
call the Kashmiri.
You doubt
It is
doubt every
extremely
Kashmiri.
sad.
So far you know
No,
Kashmiri is
I'm
Indian
just-
because
Mr.
Kashmir
Rashid-
is gone out of your hands.
No,
That is where
Rashid,
we
Mr.
stand today.
Rashid,
Agreed with
Mr.
sir.
Rashid,
Sir, agreed
Mr.
with sir.
Rashid, this is not the moment. This is not the moment to get into an argument. I'm just making a statement. This is a very somber moment. We've lost a brave heart. Now, this entire philosophy, like I
Yes,
said,
we have lost
to
a human
create,
being.
fear
Yes, sir, I
psychosis.
agree with you.
They want no one to. No,
Yes.
not a human being. He's a soldier. A soldier who fights for the flag.
So you
He
don't feel
holds
pain of human
a
beings.
very high
When
respect in the
Kashmiris get
minds,
killed, you couldn't
hearts
feel the pain of
of
Tahir
every-
Makhdoumi
Just a second.
who was butchered in
Just-
Tujir Sharif when on the eve of his marriage day.
Please,
Don't divide humanity and
Mr.
don't divide dead bodies.
Rashid,
Pain of mothers
Mr.
is equal,
Rashid,
sir.
I will give
Pain
you
of
an
mothers
answer.
is equal. Burhan's mother also
Please.
had a heart. Yes,
Mr.
yes,
Rashid,
yes.
either
Yes,
you
yes.
speak or Aisha. I will speak or you speak. Please allow me to speak. I don't interfere when you speak.
General Jaswal,
Please
complete
allow
your
me
point.
to
Yes.
speak. Why are so many killings taking place? Yeah. Why are so many people getting killed? Innocents. Why aren't the relatives of any of the politicians, including yours, getting killed on the streets? Because all these separatists and others over there, they want the normal youth of Kashmir
Yes.
to become cannon fodder.
Isn't that what this is
They are being
about?
coaxed to go to the streets.
Isn't that what this is about, Engineer Rashid?
None
You
of the
hate
what they
fact-
call separatists.
Engineer Rashid, you
none of the
hate the fact that
separatists.
this was a young man who ignored terrorists, who ignored the call of separatists, who ignored the call of persons like you, and actually took a risk to have a real future, a real dignified future that had nothing to do with this useless terrorism that has destroyed the beautiful state of Jammu and Kashmir. Isn't that why? Isn't that why he was killed? Isn't that why Lieutenant Umar Fayaz was killed? Isn't that why people like you hate people like Lieutenant Umar Fayaz? They're destroying the rhetoric you are capable of.
We don't hate him. I feel the
Do
pain.
you hate the
and
people who
we
killed him?
Definitely.
Do you hate the people who killed
live
him?
in a miserable situation. For God's sake, please. Sorry?
Do you hate the people who killed Lieutenant Umar
not at all. I
Fayaz?
have not said that part. You don't allow to respond.
Please respond, because I don't see you saying that you
Please
hate
listen
the
to me,
people who
listen
killed
to me one
Lieutenant
thing.
Umar
Militants have
Fayaz.
not claimed their responsibility so far. I am responding to you.
Whoever
you
has
said that
killed him,
militants
sir.
are responsible.
Whoever
But why
has
are you
killed
feeling
him? Do
shy
you hate the
that
people
it
who
is
killed
government of
Lieutenant
India
Umar
who
Fayaz?
lied us since 1947 and people have been dying?
Very simple
Why are you
question.
talking
Don't
about
give me
only
this
Umar
nonsense,
Fayaz?
Engineer
Why
Rashid.
are you talking about
Ask
only Umar Fayaz? You don't talk
General
about the
Jaswal
driver
asked you
in
that
Shopian.
question.
Why
I'm
don't
asking
you-
it in
no,
a
no,
very
you are
sharper
talking
manner.
nonsense, sir.
As
Why
a
don't you
human
talk
being,
about the driver
as
who
a
was taken
human
forcefully
being,
by army in Shopian and he was
as
killed
a
there
human
used as a human
being-
shield and you didn't have a program on him.
Please,
Pain of
please,
that driver
don't
of
give
that
me this
mother
what about,
and pain of Umar's
don't give
mother
me
is
what
same.
about the
And so
questions.
is the pain of
Engineer
Burhan's
Rashid,
mother.
please have
Whosoever
some
gets killed.
dignity.
Don't divide
You are a
humanity.
chosen
Don't divide
MLA.
man.
You are an independent MLA. Voters have voted you
Yeah.
as an MLA
You
in
lack
Jammu and
dignity, sir.
Kashmir. Let me ask you a
You
simple
lack
question.
dignity.
Please,
We are dying.
lose the rhetoric.
Umar
Forget
is a
about all
Kashmiri.
that.
We lost
I'm
a human
asking
being.
you.
We lost it because of
on
your
national
police.
television, here's a question for you. You said you hate the fact that this young man is dead. Do you hate the people? Forget who has claimed responsibility, who has not. Will you say right here on television that you hate the people who have killed Lieutenant Umar Fayaz and you hope that they are brought to death as well? Will you say that here on TV? You don't know who they are. They are local Kashmiris. Will you condemn them and say here,
We
Engineer
feel
Rashid,
pain
that you
of-
hate them?
You don't allow me to say. For
Please say
God's
it.
sake, why don't you try
Waiting.
to see that why people get killed?
Wait.
It has to stop somewhere. We have lost one more human being. We lost
So you're
son of
not
the
willing
soil.
to say you hate them.
Please, whether
So
it
you're
is
not
Umar
willing to
or
say you
whether it is
condemn
Burhan,
them.
they
This
both
had
were
nothing to
Kashmiri,
do with
they
the
were
Indian
humans.
army.
So
He's
you
a
are
local
entertaining
boy.
from- you are deriving entertainment
He's a
from our
local
killing.
Indian
Whether
from
it is Umar
Kashmir.
gets killed or
And-
Burhan gets killed or that sumo driver gets
Basically,
killed.
what I've
We need not to
demonstrated,
show to you.
you
We
say
need
you're a
not to show
human.
to you. Our hearts are
Please.
really feeling the pain.
Oh, you can
our
keep that
hearts are
rhetoric.
really feeling the pain.
No, no, I'm sorry.
Our hearts are really
Everyone's
feeling the
heart
pain.
is paining, sir. I'm
Militants have
sorry.
not owned their responsibility.
As an
Sir,
Indian,
till
my
now,
heart
militants
pains
have
for
not
what's
owned their
happening in
responsibility.
Kashmir. Don't give me
No
this
militant
nonsense.
outfit has owned
General
their
Jaswal, I want to go back
Why
to
are you
General
mum?
Jaswal now.
Why are you mum? When sumo driver was taken
Basically,
to
I've demonstrated to all of our viewers that Kashmir's politicians are not willing to condemn and say that they hate the people who have killed Lieutenant Umar Fayaz. That is what I've demonstrated through you.
You just had a program
That's what
on
I've
that,
done.
right?
No, no.
Don't be selective, sir.
I want to ask
Sir,
one
don't
final
be
question.
selective.
Let's see if you have an answer to this, Engineer Rashid. But I want to put that to
Sir,
General
don't be
Fayaz,
selective.
General Jaswal first. General.
Yeah.
The army has said this is going to be a
Don't be
watershed moment. The tide is going to turn against the terrorists now because they've gone a step too far. How can you explain to our viewers, General, how this is going to happen? What is the army expecting to see happen on the ground?
First, definitely we're going to get after these people who killed this brave heart. You take it from me, every terrorist
Yes.
has got a lifespan. He may die in 2 years, he may die in 6 months,
Yes.
he may die in 5 years. Every terrorist who picks up the gun against this nation, he will meet his end. Army is definitely going to launch operations, very specific operations.
Yeah.
And the commanders over there, they're well aware. I shouldn't be talking for them because they're more competent, they're current there. They would have planned,
Okay.
and these plans will be put into practice forthwith. You will see
Okay.
that these terrorists, they will be running from pillar to post.
Okay.
और जहाँ तक सवाल है रशीद साहब का, मैं रशीद साहब आपको जानता हूँ पहले से और आप भी मुझे जानते हैं. मेरे बहुत अजीज हैं कश्मीर में, जो इनोसेंट वहाँ पे कोई भी अगर बेचारा मारा
Yes.
जाता है, मेरे दिल में उतनी ही तकलीफ होती है जितनी आपके दिल में हो रही है। लेकिन अगर कोई बंदूक उठाकर हमारे झंडे की तरफ निशाना, झंडा मतलब की इंटीग्रिटी ऑफ द
Absolutely
नेशन
right. Yes.
की तरफ खिलाफ कोई काम करता है, अगर वो मरता है तो वो खुद जिम्मेवार है उसके लिए। आप मेरे ख्याल डर रहे हैं ये कहने के लिए कि आई कंडेम दोज पीपल हु किल्ड उमर फयाज।
Okay.
अगर आप कहेंगे तो मैं सच्ची मैं मानूंगा इस चीज को कि no, that you really feel the pain in your heart.
Perfect. Let's ask
Why
one
don't
final
you condemn
chance.
these people?
One final chance you have on this
These
show,
are
Engineer
terrorists.
Rashid. Will you say it? Will you say just that one line? Then I can end the show on a positive note. Will you say, Engineer Rashid, I condemn the people who murdered.
Please allow me.
I condemn. Please repeat after me. I condemn the people who murdered Lieutenant Umar Fayaz. Will you say those words? Not difficult to say, sir, as an Indian
Oh,
or a human being. Can you say
my
it?
God. As if I have to take oath behind you.
Please say
Sir,
it.
as if you are my master and you are
I'm not your
dictating me
master.
terms.
I am
need
a
not to show
humble
my friends
journalist.
You, and you have
Humble
answered
journalist.
yourself. Then you say that it may turn the tide. Then you say,
Humble journalist.
Will you
Will you condemn? Will you condemn murderers of a young Kashmiri lad?
Sir, please,
Will you
sir.
condemn the
Sir, please
murderers
allow
of
me
a
to
young
say.
Kashmiri lad?
Allow me to say.
I'm sorry,
My heart
I'm sorry,
is,
I cannot.
My heart is beating out for
I'm
the
sorry.
family.
I'm sorry.
Neither
All our
your
hearts
words,
are.
neither
You are
my
no
words
different
can
from anyone else.
Family
You are no
can be-
different
Sir,
from
please allow me
anyone.
to say.
You are
When
no
say-
different.
When you say that tide will
I'm
turn
sorry.
against the militants, then it seems
General Jaswal,
that
I
there
hope
has
you've
been a
observed.
conspiracy
I hope you've
and
observed,
that
General
needs to be
Jaswal,
looked
and to
into.
all of our
When you say
viewers
that it
today
will turn
on
the
India
tide,
Today,
maybe
that
when you say
Engineer
it will turn
Rashid,
the tide,
independent
then
MLA,
there can be a
honorable
conspiracy
politician from
which has
Jammu and
killed the
Kashmir,
captain.
has 3 times been given an opportunity to condemn the people who killed Lieutenant Umar Fayaz, and he has ducked
Hell with
all
the
3
word, honorable.
opportunities.
Okay. We owe no explanation to you.
Yeah, you
we
don't know
our duty is
I'm-
better.
yeah, say
We
that
have
to
lost
Lieutenant
son
Umar
of the fight,
Fayaz's
that is
family.
Burhan,
Okay,
Father Umar.
had enough of you.
Every
Thanks very
drop of
much,
blood
Engineer
goes-
Rashid. General Jaswal, thanks so much for tuning in and joining us on 5 Live. We mourn Lieutenant Umar Fayaz. What can we say to that young man's family? What can we really say to the army at this time? And as we continue to bring you the story of this brave young officer, idealistic enough to go back to his village for a wedding, unarmed and off duty, what do you say to this young army officer's family? We're back in a moment.